Okay, we're live. I just need to make sure it came through to YouTube. Branden, we already have a comment. Top of mind guy says, happy to be here, Branden. Look forward to the conversation. And oh, excellent. Ordering the CRM for OneNote as you begin. Will you be creating one for GoodNotes? I think you might have YouTube unmuted in the background somewhere. I think I hear myself repeating.
Yeah, you do. I'm just
okay.
Putting on my own headset so I can hear you.
Gotcha.
So,
I think you might have YouTube unmuted in the background somewhere. I think I hear myself repeating.
yeah, you do. There you go.
All right, perfect. So I don't know if you heard that, but top of mind guy is here. He says, looking forward to the conversation. Oh, and he says he's ordering your CRM for OneNote as we begin, and he wants to know if you'll be creating that for GoodNotes.
You know, that's a really good question. The big challenge with the CRM is I want it to be expandable. And with GoodNotes and having a PDF notation app, it's been challenging for a lot of people to be able to add pages and maintain some of the hyperlinks that we have involved in it. So we haven't really worked through that yet. And right now we really encourage people to use OneNote because there's so much more integration that you can do throughout the planning system.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, well, that's a good answer. So we have a few people here, and apparently I scheduled this for 11 p.m. So hopefully people realize that it was 11 p.m. Pacific time. Hopefully people realize this was supposed to be 11 a.m. and we'll be here. Anyway, top of mind guy says it's Marty Green. Branden. Hi, Marty.
Oh, hi, Marty. How you doing?
Thanks for being here. So hello and welcome. This is the second creator in the OneNote Planner Creator Series for 2021. My guest today is Branden Bodendorfer, the creator of the Key2Success digital planning system. Branden is going to give us a tour of his planners and some of the features that make it special. We're going to be taking your questions and comments throughout this live video on YouTube, and you can type those in the chat box. If you're catching this on replay, you can add your comments and thoughts in the comments section, and there will also be links there to reach out to Branden directly for questions about his planner. You can post or share about this event using the hashtag OneNotePCS or OneNotePCS 2021, and that stands for OneNote Planner Creator Series. Before I tell you about Branden, I wanted to see if anyone who is with us live is already using Branden's Key2Success planner and what experiences you've had with it or questions you have about it. And it looks like Marty has already kicked us off with that, so thank you for that. But go ahead and type in any experiences that you have or any questions you have for Branden about his planner. All right. Welcome, Branden.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for having me here.
My pleasure. Let's take a look at those comments. Oh, so Barry wants you to talk about just the differences at a high level between OneNote and GoodNotes. So I think that's a good thing, just a few sentences, because this series specifically is highlighting people who create planners just for OneNote, and that is because of those differences. So why don't you just give us a few sentences about the differences between OneNote and GoodNotes?
Yeah, so when I think of GoodNotes, I really think of it as a PDF annotation app that works linear. So it's really awesome that you can work through the planning system and work through it through a linear fashion. And if you are within the confinements of our planning system, it's great and awesome. It's also one of those pieces that works really good on Apple products. But when you get into looking at multiple devices like Windows and Android, and if you are someone that loves Apple but at work you're using Windows, it makes it very difficult to have that planning system with you. So I encourage a lot of people that work with multiple devices across a lot of different platforms to utilize OneNote because it is a universal app and it's a free app. And it has the ability not only to feature cross-platform collaboration, but it also has the ability for you to really expand on it. And one of the things that I really enjoy is the infinite board. Within a PDF annotation app like GoodNotes, you are really confined to the space in which we allow you to journal. With OneNote, you can expand and add pages. You can go outside of the templates and really grow your own coverage area for what you want to plan, create, and just move forward with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good, top level summary. GoodNotes really is like digital paper. I mean, there is some ability to hyperlink, but it just like OneNote does that and so much more, so okay. So Stephen Kramer says, thanks for putting this together. You're welcome, Stephen. My pleasure. Jane says, yes, I'm using it, and all caps, I love it.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah. And then Trimedia of Marshfield says, love the planner. So you
In
already
full
have some.
disclosure, that's my staff. They have to love the planner.
I love full disclosure. Oh, you know what? That's my dog barking. My husband's on dog watch, so hopefully we'll get that handled in a minute. All right. So I really wanted Branden to present his planner here today because to me, the thing that makes this planner really special is that it comes with an entire planning system and philosophy. It's not just a formatted way to write down notes or appointments. He has a whole system for planning and setting goals, beginning with a vision or vision board, and then setting long-term goals and breaking those long-term goals down into quarters and weeks. And this is something I started to notice a few years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, when paper planners started to kind of make a comeback. A lot of them come with a planning system or philosophy, and there's a support system, and there's language, and a framework to work with them. And I think that's great because if you just want a place to keep appointments, like you can use your Google Cal or whatever for that, but this is like a system and a philosophy built into it. So with Branden's planner, you not only get those places to take notes and write your appointments, but you also get this whole system and his philosophy. And he does like tutorials and case studies and things like that on how to implement his planning system. And then aside from being the founder of the Key2Success planning system, he's a big fan of OneNote. Branden also operates multiple businesses and mentors other businesses on growth and SEO. And he has a YouTube channel that's linked in the description below. So Branden, I'm going to turn it over to you in a minute. But before I do, I'm going to just check the chat real quick.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just give you a little background on why we created the planner. So
Yeah.
I was always a huge paper planner person, all through high school, in my early years in business, which can believe this, my early years in business was when I was in my 20s. And even through the recession of 2007 and 2008, we really had some strong growth. And when we got into the mid 2013s, 2014s, we really saw a contraction in our business. And it was one day that I was at the doctor and I was having some ankle pain. And I tell this story to a lot of people, but I went to the doctor's office because it was kind of going on for a couple months. And I was, in the beginning of the year. And the doctor asked me, he said, well, Branden, can you recall a time that you didn't have this ankle pain? And I, thought about it for a minute. I said, well, it was before the holidays, before the new year. And he goes, is there anything that's changed in your lifestyle since then? And the light bulb just went on for me. And I had a New Year's resolution that I was going to run 1,000 miles. So each and every week I was running 20 to 25 miles. And now after being 2 to 3 months into the year, I was starting to develop some underlying pain from it. And I walked away from that appointment kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't figure this out on my own. But then I looked at our businesses and say, well, when were we having huge growth or steady growth? And I reflected on the fact that it was when I was doing daily planning, when I was journaling, when I was writing down my goals and ambitions in a paper planner. And what got me away from that is when the iPad and some of these digital tablets came into the market space, I wanted to have one less paper planner. I didn't want to have all of the binders behind me that come with the Franklin Planner system. And I wanted to have something I could take wherever I went with me. So I was trying to utilize, these apps and these pens. And finally, it just dawned on me that I had to get back into paper planning. So I kind of went back to paper planning for a few weeks and I just didn't like it. So I went into my design department's office and I said, hey, can we put something together, a template? And lo and behold, I basically started developing a planner that I could use on my iPad. And then when the Surface came out, I really integrated that into OneNote. And here we are today. We have a system that we've been developing over the last couple of years that really helps those people that are professionals and those individuals that are trying to grow with their either career, relationships, or community success, be able to do that each and every day by accomplishing 3 key goals.
That's a great story. And even though, we've worked together before, I haven't heard that, but I love that story. It's so interesting, the light bulb moment and how you were able to pin that down. And I love the origin story of how, you went to the design department and, it all started with that. That's really cool. Okay, so we have a couple of comments. So Barry wants to know if you can import Google Calendar entries into your OneNote planner.
So that's a good question. It's probably one of the most common questions that comes up. And I tell people, first and foremost, I'm a total fan of handwritten notes. And you think of this as a paper planner, but you're carrying it with you digitally. And no different than you use your electronic devices like your watch and your phone for notification services. I still highly suggest that people do that. But there's a video on my YouTube channel. I'll definitely put in the comments below here at some point that you can look at. And I get into a method that we use to do that side by side. But the whole idea of the planner is really to invest in your goals and your progress of your projects and the things you're trying to move forward. You just can't do that in electronic calendars. You can't. They're based on events and activities. They don't really allow you to outline what it is that you need to do, what action you need to take place to see success in those events and activities. So yes, for notification services, I encourage people to use those side by side. But if you establish a solid routine, I don't use them at all ever anymore. I don't put things in my calendar. I don't my electronic calendars. I do it all in my planner, the Key2Success planning system, because I find through routine that I'm constantly checking that and I'm utilizing that as my key source for information. And you will too if you establish a routine with it.
Wow, that's really interesting. That you have pretty much taken those old what would have been the Franklin Planner, and at the time, before these digital apps or before you started using them or whatever, like that was the way, like you literally carried that with you. And when you were scheduling something, you'd flip open your planner and put it in there. There was no other way to do it. And so you've essentially replicated that. You're completely into your planner now, like using your handwritten notes, just as if it was paper. It just happens to be digital.
Yeah. And I think what's the key to know is I'll be the first one to tell you guys, I design and tweak this planner each and every year to fit my needs and from the feedback that everybody provides me. Mm-hmm. So we're constantly trying to get this planning system to be something that works universally and works for a lot of different professions, but ultimately it's something I have to believe in. And I wanted to get to a point that that was my only means of really outlining my schedule. And I knew through establishing a routine, I would be able to do that. And I just dropped in that link for that YouTube video that kind of shows that side by side, because for a lot of you guys, you're going to be going from these type of notification services to a digital planner. There's going to be a transition, and I totally understand and respect that. And every good thing, every good change happens over time, and that's one of the processes. If you want to get into digital planning and be successful with it, it's part of the process.
Yeah. But to answer Barry's question, you can't directly import things. Correct?
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Right. And
you're a politician, right?
Yeah. So Barry says, I have a ton of stuff on my Google Calendar, and I'm hoping not to have to re-enter all those entries. So, Barry, I would say, let's take a look at what Branden has to say, and maybe, this might work for you, or it might work for part of you. And I will say too that I use Google Calendar as well as a handwritten schedule in OneNote. I use like a daily timetable, and I use Google Calendar for like the big block. Like say I have a dentist appointment at 2. Well, that's what would go in Google Calendar. But when I sit down in the morning to plan my day out, well, that means by 1:15 I need to have made sure I've finished lunch, and that I'm made sure my dogs have been out, and I have any paperwork, and if I'm going to run another errand, I have my shopping bags with me or whatever. And then I need to leave the house at 1:30. To get there on time. And then, but the appointment takes an hour, and it's going to be at least 3:30 before I get home. And so it's like, that's where the handwriting comes in for me. Like the Google Calendar holds the fact that there's a dental appointment, and then I do like a more detailed plan to make sure I get there on time, and that I have a plan for what I'm going to do later. So Barry says, thank you. Top of Mind Guy says, oh, wow, listen to this. I highly recommend the system. It's the first one I have been able to stay with and not look outside for additional functionality over a period of months. So that's months. That's great. That is really cool. That's exactly what you were saying, that you're completely based in the planner and handwriting. Top of Mind Guy says, we'll move to OneNote, though, for the great reasons Branden describes. I've run into some limitations with GoodNotes. Sounds like OneNote will solve them. Awesome. Branden and I are both huge OneNote fans, so we would, I love it. I hope you love it too. Okay, so Top of Mind Guy says, I don't see the link. So I don't see it either. I don't know where you pasted it. Did you put it in the show notes? But well, we will make sure. I made myself a note to get that link later from Branden, so it'll be in the show description before long.
Yeah, it's in the chat, so it probably was a little bit of delay, but we did add it there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it in the chat either myself, even right now on YouTube. So
we will definitely make sure you get it. I'll email it to you after the show notes.
Okay. Yeah, so it'll be in the YouTube description later if that doesn't end up showing up in the chat box. And it should be in the YouTube description anyway, so people have it. So we're going to share Branden's screen in a minute. And I just wanted to mention that this is not a sponsored video, and neither Branden nor I are paying each other to be here. So I'm just showing this because I think it's something people are interested in. So Branden, let's get your screen shared. Let me go ahead and do that. There we go.
All right. So hi guys. I'll first off just kind of start by, I'm going to jump around between two planners. So you might at some point want to find yourself going back to this video and recapping some of the information we're going to share. But I'm going to jump between a blank planner. This is what you would receive if you had purchased the planner. This is what your planner would look like. And then I'm also going to jump into a demo planner, which is going to show some examples on how I utilize the planner. But first, I'm going to go through the blank planner and just show you kind of the philosophy and the theory that we have. So each and every year over the last 3 years, we've really grown this planner. And initially when we started this planner, we wanted to really focus on daily planning. I find that when you do daily planning, you are so much more successful in your day. One of the big things that we have, and you can see here in the center of the screen, is the Key Daily 3. These are the 3 objectives that we encourage each person to focus on each and every day. It's part of a bigger focus for your day. But when you look at those daily 3 things, I always tell people, if it be 5 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the afternoon, in the morning, or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or even 10 o'clock at night, if you've accomplished those 3 things, all of those to-dos that maybe you didn't accomplish still means you're successful, because these are the 3 things, these are the 3 key action steps that are going to move you closer to your vision. So as we developed the planner over the last couple of years, we worked outward in that sense. And in 2021, we introduced a vision board. And when I look at the vision board, and I'll show you an example here in the demo, is the vision board is a space where you really look at yourself, your relationship, your career, and your community and say, where do I want to grow? Where do I want to move my life forward in the next 12 months? And what are some of the key things? And through this kind of brainstorming vision board, you start to look at some of the key things that you want to do. My career, I want to grow my revenue by 10%. I want to expand my online product offering. So as you start to look at the bigger picture, you start to look at this right page and say, what is my vision statement for the year? I've always found that when I have a theme, no different than in a campaign or a market theme, whenever I have a theme or some type of statement for the year, I find success if I connect everything I'm doing to that theme. So in this case, my statement is to expand awareness for digital products. So in the larger planning board, I always like to tell people, then once you develop out that vision and you see some of the things, you start to drop them into individual months. So you said here that I want to grow my business by 10%. Well, that's an action step that's going to take the entire year. But maybe there was something where you want to start growing your 4th quarter initiatives. And you can see, well, I want to start growing my 4th quarter initiatives in August so that I have plenty of time to plan and prep and deliver on that goal. So you can see that this piece here allows you to start dropping in some of the key elements that you need to grow your annual objectives, but puts it in a monthly time frame for you. The other thing I always tell people to do is there's going to be seasons in your business, seasons in your life, even things that you're doing in the community. We have a lot of pastors and preachers that utilize our planner, and there's a lot of things that you are going to find that are huge obstacles, or maybe you're going to be stepping more into your business, that being able to develop it and be on top of your business isn't something that's realistic at the time. Maybe you got a big trip plan. For example, in this case here, hey, I'm going to Disney in the month of March. Whenever you go on vacation, there's always that moment where you're leading up to getting away from your career. And then when you get back from vacation, even though you're refreshed and rewound, there's always that surge of trying to get through all the work that you missed. And sometimes if we don't necessarily take the time to dedicate some of those big event activities are taking place, we kind of get I'm going to be frank. Sometimes we go on those trips and we achieve those life moments. And then we get back to work and a couple weeks go through the motion. We look at our goals and we say, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in a slump. You're not in a slump. You just didn't plan for that life event around it real well. So that's one thing I always tell people to notice through their vision board, is really to indicate that. From there, part of our plans is trying to grow you in 4 key areas. And that would be yourself, your relationships, your career, and your community. Now, those that used our planner in 2019, you probably saw in 2020, we kind of steered away our planning system and went more into this direction. And the reason why we did this is I always felt that there was 4 elements or 4 things or 4 strings pulling at my life. And it would either be my own personal ambitions, the relationships that I have with my coworkers, my family, my friends, my neighbors, my career, and then the things I want to do in the community. And when I say community, I want each and everyone to know that community goes way beyond the community that you work in or the community that you're serving. It could be the community in which you are a part of in your business. Some organizations are so large that maybe you are in your own marketing department, but are you building relationships and building community across other departments, in your finance department, in your development department, in your sales department, in your customer service department? Community can be a lot of things, and a lot of times it's building the people around you. In this particular example, building your bench. So when you move out of that vision board and you start to look at some of those annual keys, these are the areas where you really want to brainstorm some of the key action steps, some of the key goals that you need to achieve to see your vision come to light, and doing it in a sense that you can find balance across developments for yourself, your career, those relationships, and the communities that you're trying to serve. So that's the initial part of this planner, is really just before you start the year, before you dive into a quarter, those are the first things from 30,000 feet that you want to really digest and learn. And then from there, the planner starts to become more about developing the progress in which you want to do. So we talked about our planning section of the planner, and then it's getting into goals. So in the goals section of the planner, it's really taking those individual elements, those individual goals or action steps that we have for ourselves, our relationship, our career, and community, and really putting together what our summary of that goal is. And we have a tutorial on each and every one of these pages. So if you jump on our YouTube channel, you can go, and there is a dedicated playlist, and there is anywhere from a 5-minute video to a 20-minute video that really talks about each and every one of these pages and how to really utilize these pages best. But in summary, the goal is your blueprint for success. From there, I always tell people you need to have some type of motivation. What is motivating you to achieve this goal? And then what is it that you have to do through brainstorming, developing those action steps and ideas and the pathway to achieving success in that goal? And then really indicating what some of those key action steps are. And then quite honestly, the last element is what is your reward? Sometimes the reward is moving on to the next phase. And sometimes the reward is seeing a milestone be achieved. And sometimes it's being able to hit the finish line, but really being able to understand as you achieve this goal, what are you reaching for? What have you achieved by doing so? And that's an important piece. So really, it's not a lot of information that you have to put together, but it really helps you develop through your ideas and your goal planning. And I tell everybody these key action steps, should start making their way into your quarterly planning. Now, before I jump into quarterly planning, I want to show you a couple other templates that we have available. So everyone gets a template folder, and we've done a lot of different things with templates. One of the cool things that we did this year is in 2021, we made it so that you can now start to type in the planner if you are someone that doesn't want to handwrite, and those notes will be able to attach to those lines, and you'll be able to use the planner typing. And as we see more and more devices, especially like this Surface Dual, that allows us to really utilize mobile experience in a different way, typing we know is a function. So you can easily use this planner and these templates. And if it be on a Macintosh, Apple computer, a Windows computer, anytime you're in OneNote, you can easily copy this page and you can paste it anywhere throughout your document. And I'll show you some examples. But we came up with a couple different templates for notes. A line note page. We have a blank note page that comes in the planner. This really allows you to have more free form. And then we have a dots page. And this really came out of a request from someone that works on NASA. There's no science to the dots, but it is a grid. I personally use the dots page a lot because I like grids. I like being able to have a line that I can write on, but then yet a space that I can really develop some of my thought process. This is our team week page, and we have a whole dedicated page to this, and I'll show you an example of this. But one of the requests that came last year from one of our users is, hey, I have a spouse. I have 2 kids. Can I notate their schedule as part of my schedule? And what was really cool about this, Michelle, is, and I'm just going to jump over and see if I have a demo of this page, because if I do, there's something that's really cool about it. And I probably don't. Yes, I do. So what's really cool about this team page is you can go in OneNote and you can actually share and invite people to have access to this page. So
just
really
to the
cool.
Page?
Yeah, you can share the page.
Oh.
And you can even create a section that is in your planner that would be shared calendar. So you could share this with your spouse. You could share this with your kids, and you can easily either go ahead and type in it. Maybe you have an eye appointment and you want to put that, it starts at 9 o'clock and it goes through, maybe that goes through until 10. You can easily type that in there. You could handwrite in that. But this is a good way that you can easily show that one of the kids has an eye appointment from 9 a.m. to 10 on Tuesday. And it still allows you to use both the handwritten philosophy and the typed philosophy, but it does it in a way where you can outline your entire week. So that's something that was brought into this year's planner that we're really excited about. This weekly planning page, this is the template, and we'll dive into this when we get into the weekly pages. But we also have the template for the quarterly pages, and then the ideal week pages, and then also our meeting and planning pages. And
wait, I just want to nerd out for a second. That team one was really cool because you could picture, like, say, like a family with different schedules, and like, my color coding fans that, like myself, you could, have each person's, schedule in a different color. And it would also help coordinate, like if 2 people have an activity at the same time, you can coordinate all that. So, I mean, that's amazing. I love that. And the other thing you've been kind of referring to it, but I want to just highlight it, that these notes pages, when you talk about being able to, oh, you know what?
I'm responding to Linda's question. Yes, you can
I was just going to say, we have a question on that. Let me just finish my thought, and then we'll talk about what you're doing with Linda's question. When you've been referencing this, but we haven't specifically like nailed it down, that when you have your notes pages and you say that you can type on it, so I think what you're saying is like the default font and font size is already set up so that your typing will line up with the pages on your notes page.
Yes, and if you're on a Windows computer, the biggest pro tip I'll tell you is when you put in that text box, hold the Alt key down, and that'll allow you to move that cursor precisely where you want it to land. Otherwise, if you don't hold the Alt key down, which is ALT, it's usually next to your space bar, that will allow you to precisely move the cursor where you want it. Otherwise, for whatever reason, Windows, especially in OneNote, it kind of almost moves it in like different blocks or cell format, but holding the Alt key down will allow you to move it. So to address Linda's comment, she asked,
go ahead.
So address Linda's comment, can you import pictures on your vision board? Yes, that's one thing that's so cool about OneNote, as well as a lot of PDF annotation apps, is you can go in and you can insert pictures, printouts, files, capture screenshots. You can even pull in links from other websites, YouTube channels, and you can even start to do audio recording. We have one gentleman that that isn't able to do a lot of handwriting when it comes to vision, but he can type. But he uses the OneNote and does a lot of audio recording where he's able to actually record notes. And I get this question all the time from especially moms. Do we have sticker packs available? You know, there's a lot of places you can get sticker packs, but then also OneNote has some of its own stickers that you can use. I'm personally not a big fan of stickers. I like to draw my own creation, but that is the option there.
You know, just while we're on the topic, can you go back to the stickers?
Sure, I can go back to the stickers.
So if you go to the second one from the bottom, these are editable stickers. The second one from the bottom with the blonde-haired face. Yeah. So these have like an editable text box. So, you know, if you're having a bad day, you know, you can take the grumpy face and be like, oh, darn it, I hate this day. So I just think those are, like, you can edit those, is my point.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
So,
but yes, you can import pictures. You could do, as Branden said, you could do, like, you know, if someone wanted to put a family picture in because that's on their vision board, like I want a more cohesive family, you know, or something like that. But you can definitely do pictures.
So before we get out of this video today, one thing I want to really show you guys is how I utilize these templates throughout my daily planning process. And the meeting page is one page that I use almost each and every day. But the meeting page, what it was really designed for is I have so many people, and myself included, where you pre-plan your meeting. Now, yes, you always hear the joke, hey, I'm going to the meeting to schedule the meeting. You know, it's kind of a running joke for a lot of businesses that they're having a meeting for planning a meeting, right? Well, it's actually a really healthy thing. And what I did is I took that same thought and I said, well, what about not only planning the meeting you're going into, but looking at the meeting you just had and making sure you made the most out of that meeting? What did you accomplish from that meeting? Because sometimes I will leave a meeting and I'll sit there. We've been in this meeting for a half hour, a couple hours. What did I take from that meeting? Did we achieve something? And this planning page really helps you through that process. So outlining your agenda, identifying who's at the meeting, sketching what, you know, your brainstorming session of what that meeting should look like, indicating different tasks or assignments that you're going to want to nail through as part of that meeting, indicating, outlining any projects you may have, and then your spot for journal entry. You know, outlining the notes and conversations that took place in that meeting. But then the meeting recap is something I really believe in. It's a space where you really indicate what you've accomplished. How can you improve on the next meeting? What will make this meeting versus the next meeting? What made the difference in that? And I'm all about trying to maximize our productivity with our time. We only get so much time each and every day, and we're only here on this earth for so long. So to be finding ourselves not investing our time wisely is really a struggle for me. So I really look at this page in this particular section, and I always review when I had a meeting, was the meeting length long enough to achieve what we wanted to accomplish? And if it wasn't, how do I better improve that the next time we have that meeting? These are a spot for individual action steps for myself, and then well as follow-ups. You know, do I need to follow up to have another meeting? Is there another department or individual that I need to connect with? Maybe it's a partner or a vendor. It's a space to really indicate that. The next,
and these templates, so you have a whole template section, and these can all be either moved. So if you use one of them, you can move it to wherever, like to that day or to that client. And they can also be copied, right? So like if you need more meeting pages, you can just create a copy of a blank one, right?
yes. And we're going to get into the power of even linking those meetings when we get into the daily pages.
All right.
Project, same thing. Again, it's a place for you to outline a project, indicate maybe some of the key actions in that project, outline a planning board, develop the action steps, tasks, and journal through the project. A lot of times what I'll see is a project will, as we move through a project, there will be a higher level entry of this project, and then there'll be multiple sub-activities of this project. And when you get into the quarterly planning goals, this page becomes very, very important for that. And then obviously we create a section where you can simply just write notes. So when you get the planner, we have a couple different planners. We have a digital planner that is for you as a personal planner, and then we have the business planner. And one question that always comes up when people are looking at our planner is, what is the big difference between our digital planner and the business planner? And I'm going to tell you what that difference is right now. It is our CRM toolkit. And I know it's something that I think was it Green that asked about it. Marty asked about when we started. What I find is there's so many different times, and we see a lot during COVID here, where we see like Salesforce, for example, is a CRM, a customer relationship management program. And we see that the stock market has really embraced some of these CRMs and some of these tech stocks. We see, for example, Salesforce is now in the Dow, which is pretty impressive. But what these programs are is they're developed or have been developed, and why people took so much interest in them, as we're working from home and working remotely. There's people that we report to that want to know what we're doing, and that's very honest part of life. I've always felt it's important to have some type of customer relationship management tool, but I never felt that I got a lot out of that toolkit or those planning tools. It was more like I'm doing a job so somebody else can see what I'm doing. There was never anything that really helped me through determining what made that important for me to do. And I always tell my staff, and I always tell myself, if I am not willing to make the investment, you are not going to be able to get the return, nor am I. So I went to town and said, I want to make sure that when I'm utilizing my time, I'm meeting with customers. I don't want to waste their time, nor do I want to waste my time. So I said, how do I do that? How do I make the most out of that toolkit and that time with our customers? So we created this toolkit, and I'll show you an example of what it is.
I just want to pause because you said something that I feel like is like a little nugget of gold. You were saying that sometimes because we have pretty much everyone has someone they report to. And sometimes there were things you do just to show that work got done, as opposed to doing something because you have a clear vision of how it's going to move you more toward, the vision, the goals. And so I just thought that was a really interesting, it's like just this little kernel of wisdom, because if you're having a meeting with a client, it's not just to show that you had X meetings per week or that you're, busy running on a treadmill. It's sort of like there should be a distinct correlation between like how that meeting is going to forward your goals, the client's goals, and the company's goals.
Absolutely. So and to me, the client board is really simple, but it really accomplishes a lot. So obviously the first thing is indicating some very key things about each and every customer. So if you are in sales, if you are in marketing, if you are someone that is a realtor, if you are a CEO, COO, no matter what area or where you are in the business, you deal with customers, and your job might have a different influence on that customer. But taking it from a sales approach, obviously having some key information about that customer is important. Knowing some background about that customer is important. And this is a made-up customer. Miller Bradford is just something I used as an example. But again, there has always been a few books, and a lot of books will always tell you that when you can create a relationship with a customer and you can understand their needs and how your product or service relates to their needs, you're going to not only have better success, but you're going to have a better return from that customer. And what's important to understand about that is a lot of times if you're going after a customer or you're prospecting a customer, what is your interest in that customer? Yeah, we want to make money. We want to build our revenue base. But what is the reason? Why is that customer fit in your business? Sometimes we spend so much time selling a customer on why we would be a good fit for them. But I learned that when I determine what customers are a good fit for me, it's easier for me to get to the finish line, have a higher gross profit with that customer, and be able to network with them when I have an interest in them as well, and they fit into my client bag or persona. So my interest state really is defining that. What makes this person a good customer for us? And then these are 6 pieces that I feel are really key to kind of understanding what makes that customer and that relationship strong. Obviously you have to prospect them. You have to qualify that customer and make sure that that customer does align for you. What is your pitch? What are you going to tell the customer to get them intrigued in you? What is your value? What can you provide that customer that's going to get them to say, you know what, I want to talk to Branden. There's an opportunity for us here that would make their business, their products and service valuable to us. Why should they buy from you? You have competitors and they know it. And the same people that are selling your same services that are you're selling are being sold by others. But why should that person buy from you? And it's important to indicate that. And what is some of the objectives? What are the things that you know that you need to overcome? Are they in contracts? Is pricing an issue? Maybe that individual or the person that you're initially meeting with is not the decision maker. Those are all things, and this is a very fluid area of this client board. I always tell myself and the clients that I work with is this is an area that as you move through the relationship, you're going to mark up, you're going to highlight, you're going to redraw. It's a very fluid piece of the document. That's what's so great about digital planning is I can easily take a segment of this, I can move it, I can erase it, I can bring it back. It's all things that I can do and make this document work better for me. And that's what I find that's so great about OneNote and any digital planner. The next thing is determining how do you get to that customer and how do you get through the weeds and bring that relationship to harness. So this is a board where you can really think about that. Is it through networking? Do you have a friend of a friend that knows someone that works there? Maybe there is an event that you guys are both members of. Maybe you have a coworker that is married to someone. Basically, or you've been able to identify a problem that they have that you feel that you could fix. Maybe because of the industry or the community that they're in, there is some type of global crisis that you're able to help them through. This here is a spot where you can basically create that roadmap. And then milestones. Every boss that I've ever worked for, which it hasn't been many, but I've had many people report to me, is whenever someone asks you how a relationship is going or where you're at, to me, there's checkpoints, no different when you play the video games where you put in 75 cents or, today it's probably $1.50 and you keep racing. But every time you get to the checkpoint, you get your time extended. I often think to myself, that's what a lot of bosses think, especially if you're in sales or in marketing. How do I get to the next checkpoint so I get my time extended with that customer? This to me, when you're going through a process with a customer, is indicating where are my milestones, where are my checkpoints, that when I achieve these things, I'm realizing I'm making success with that customer. I once heard somebody tell me, and I'll pause for a second so you can resonate this, that 85% of all customers will buy something by the 6th visit. 85% of all salespeople stop calling by the 6th visit. Meaning a lot of times we as individuals, we give up on customers or prospecting because we haven't seen the progress that we're making and we haven't designated that, hey, 6 customers will buy from us or likely buy from us by the 6th visit. So here is basically, I've indicated 6 spots, 6 points of interest where you can get yourself to closing on a deal or feeling that you've made progress with it. Maybe it's that first meeting, the proposal, the follow-up, a product demo, being able to showcase pricing, being able to have them come to your facility and do a plant tour. Maybe it's you getting in and meeting with their staff. But these are areas how you can look over time, how you might be able to achieve your relationship with them. And then there's a small section for notes. So that's kind of like your master board. This is kind of like, I always, when I'm out driving, and today I don't do a lot of it because of COVID, but when I'm about to get on a Zoom call, I'm always going back to this page and I'm indicating what is my qualifications for this customer? What is my interest in them? Again, what is my pitch? What value do I have for them? Why should they buy from me? And understanding their objectives. I always go back to this and refresh my mind each and every time that I'm going to have some type of customer experience with those customers. And then this is my tracking. So what this allows me to do, and this is a page that's one of our templates, and it has ability for you to track your individual calls. So to me, a call is anytime I have some type of engagement with them. If it be verbal or nonverbal, it might be an email, it might be a call, it might be an in-person meeting, it might be a Zoom meeting. I indicate that timeline, the summary of that call, maybe some action steps that came out of it, and if a follow-up is needed. It's not a lot of information. And the reason for that is a lot of times there will be a meeting page connected to it. So I'm going to jump and kind of show you one of those examples. So let's just say if I was in templates and I grabbed or back up to my other planner because I don't have it in my demo here, but we're going to add it to it. So let's just say I had this meeting right here. I can go ahead and I can copy that page. and I'll pull back into that demo planner just to make it look more real. And I'll pull into this prospect page. I can go ahead and I can paste this page. Okay. This could be that meeting. I'm just going to put today's date's the 24th of September, 2020. This is what's so cool. I can copy this page and hit copy link to page. You can do this on Windows. You can do this on Apple, where I can copy this and I can move into this journal and I can move down here and I can click right here and I can hit paste. What this does is allows me, if I click on this, I instantly jump to this page. So I can have a bigger discussion, take those notes, and I can link that page into here. And I can go one step further. We can go into our month, and I'm just going to pull, let's go pretend that it was actually January 11th. Let's just say we had that meeting with them at 1 o'clock. I can drop in this meeting. I'm going to retitle it Meeting with Bradford. Sorry about that. I'm going to go in here and just put Meeting with Bradford. And I can put that inside of here. And I can have that meeting on my planner page. And then when I'm at the meeting or when I'm looking at my day for that day, I can easily jump directly to that page. And that page is then linked in my planner. So when I talked to you guys earlier about utilizing the planner and making it a part of your routine, this is a prime example. You're starting to link all those notes together and you start to making real traction on not necessarily duplicating your activity, but being able to outline your success through being able to utilize the digital planner in a lot of facets. So back to this page here. This is simply a call log. The idea here with this is to indicate a summary of the notes. And the reason why I do that, again, before each and every interaction, I like to go back and look at my last interaction. I like to make sure I followed up on the samples that were left or follow up on whatever action steps were needed to be able to know if I'm moving forward correctly with that customer. So that is the CRM toolkit. It's not there's not a lot of pages to it, but there's a lot of science behind what it is. And we've had a number of customers that have demoed it for us. It's something new in 2021 that we introduced. We've had a lot of customers that have started to use this over the past few months. I've had a lot of feedback from people saying, this is changing the way I think about how I am working with my different relationships. And it's really helped me, especially through COVID, because not being so socially connected, it allows me to really stop and take the time to figure out how we want to continue our networking process. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, a lot, actually. Did you intentionally shut your camera off?
No, I did not. It was on a time screen. It'll come back here in a second.
Okay. So, wow. I love so much about this. So this CRM, like you said, it's the difference between the personal and the business planner. And I really like this. I actually started writing down all the things I wanted to say because it was just too many thoughts. So for one, I love your philosophy on this. That, from the very beginning, it was not about how do I get my numbers? How do I sell to this person? It's like, who is this person? Can I meet their needs? Are we a good fit for each other? It's really taking a deep interest in your mutual, goals, like how you can help each other. And like, I love that when people take that approach to sales and business, that idea of we can both come out of the transaction better off, and so I really like your whole philosophy, and that this whole system is designed around that idea, as opposed to just, treating people like they're just a warm body with a wallet, like that is, and nobody likes that. No one likes to be sold to, so I thought that was great. I also really liked the milestones page where you had the 6 milestones. And what's cool about that, one of them was, sending them a proposal, giving them a demo, etc. And I liked that it was blank because it could be different for each person. But if you are a company with some sort of standardized process, you could fill those in and have it be the same for each person. And so I could even picture like some sort of tracking report where it's like, okay, we have, 10 customers at stage 1, we have 5 at stage 2 and 3 at, like that kind of thing, if it's a standard process. So I really like that. I liked, that little piece of, that you shared about people often need multiple contacts and multiple interactions before they'll buy something. And I think that's just like a neat thing to know, that sometimes it's just that you stop too soon, and nobody wants to be pushy or anything, but if you really have a legitimate interest in the person and have your sort of head in the right place, that you want to help them, then I don't think you're going to come across as trying to be too pushy. I also like the thing that you were talking about, that you could share pages with your staff. So you could share that customer page. The call log gives you like that summary. I think that's where, like, it gives you a summary of all your contacts. Like every time you have a contact with that person, you have like a quick summary. Yeah, it's just a few lines, a few things. But then if you have like a 3-hour meeting with multiple people, you can use the notes page to take like detailed notes with all like the advantages of that, link it to the call log, and then link it back to your planner. So like that to me was really cool. And it kind of gives you the idea that you can share these pages, gives you some of the advantages of like the CRM systems out there.
And I'm just going to, and for those that you can't see it in the screen share, but one thing that's really powerful about OneNote is you can also right click on a page or a section, and you can password protect it. So as you see, I'm hovering over prospects here. I can go in, and if there's a page or a meeting that's coming up and I don't want people that have shared access to that page to be able to see it, I can password protect it. And then either share that password with people maybe in an admin role that be able to access it, or keep it to myself. And I think that's really huge too. So then that way you can still develop that customer and that relationship within that system, but yet not make the content totally global for everyone to see.
Yeah, because there could be situations where, like, say you're working with someone who's maybe very well known and prominent in your town, and they want to keep a low profile until you're ready to do this thing with them. That might be a situation where you don't want everyone on your staff to know. So that's really cool. And I was just going to say, so this is a question. The difference between the personal planner and the business planner is the CRM. Is that correct?
The only difference between the business planner includes the CRM, and also to answer some other questions, we do have a bundle available that if you purchase the bundle, it actually starts in 2000. It starts in July of 2020 and goes through December of 2021.
Okay, so yeah, that was Barry's question. Does the 2021 planner have pages for 2020? And you just said there's a bundle. Kurt Suzer, Kurt rocks. He was my first planner creator, and he's like the OneNote guy in Europe. Hi, Kurt. Stephen Kramer says CRM tool. Wow. So I think yeah, that's the first time I've really gotten like a detailed look at your CRM, and I'm sort of like, wow. And I think, one of the things that I've been sort of stewing about, or not stewing, just kind of thinking that I might want to have this as a goal, is to do more keeping in touch. Like Branden, you and I have worked together, and we're going to do this live stream. And my thinking is, and I've streamed with Kurt, and there's some other people, and it's like I should have like a recurring thing to just sort of reach out, make sure I know what they're doing, see if I can help, can I promote, can I contribute something, and do that on an ongoing basis. And that's sort of both business and community. But something like this would be really helpful. Like, so even though they're not like customers, it's like managing my community and managing my relationships.
And how we have it laid out in the business planner is you get clients, they're broken down into letter groups. So customers A through G. So there's already some kind of template laid out there, so you can kind of group things. But then we also break apart prospects and clients. And what's really cool about this is some people don't realize this. Maybe we got a prospect, and I'm just going to edit my template here, and I'm just going to say if this was Sam's Plumbing, I can come in here and I can have Sam's Plumbing in my prospect page. But what happens if Sam now becomes a customer? I can easily move Sam's Plumbing into my client's page. And this is really helpful too, because then I'm able to understand where I'm at with that individual customer. And now you can see that Sam moved into my customer. If you move that whole section, all the hyperlinking, all the notes, and everything you had stay together.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. That's another great thing, because yeah, people do move from prospect to customer. So that's Very cool. There you go. So we have a couple other questions. So Dean wants to know, and he said it might be unrelated, but he wants to know if you could embed a live file, like say a Google Live calendar in a OneNote page, if that makes sense. So go ahead.
I haven't tried that personally, but if there is some type of linking system to it, I imagine the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, I would imagine too. And if Kurt's still here, he may know the answer to that. So I don't know I've never tried that, but Dean, that's a great idea. And I can try and find someone who knows how to do that to come on the show as a guest. That would be like my monthly live stream show where I have other guest experts, not this Planner Creator series. So Top of Mind Guy says, my superpower is helping business owners find the shared values that will connect with the customer. So love that.
All right, we have a new battery in my camera, so we're good now. So you guys ready to buckle? Should we buckle in and should we go into the next phase of it?
Wait, I do have a couple more. One more comment, which is, so did you hear that, what I just said? So Top of Mind Guy says, my superpower is helping business owners find the shared values that will connect with the customer. Gotcha. So I just really like that because it's about that value and stuff. And then Dean says, don't forget your password. I don't think you can recover it. So thank you, Dean. Great reminder.
I have personal experience. I have one section that I have a password protect on, and I have a notebook dedicated to ideas of passwords that section might be. So for the last year, I've been working through to try to unlock a section. But when I do, it's going to be like some pretty cool stuff.
Right. Wait, before you go on, hold on. I did hear one of my prior guests said if you're on an iOS or Mac device that you can use the fingerprint to unlock it. You might be able to use the fingerprint if you've set that up, if you lose your password. But yeah, don't lose your password. And then following up on that live, embedding a live page, Dean says, can you embed Excel files, etc.?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Oh, okay, great. Awesome. Okay, so now we're at the 56-minute mark, and so and we still have 17 people with us, which is incredible. That's amazing. But we should probably get moving on and get through the rest of the planner. Even though I could, kind of geek out on this stuff all day. Dean says OneNote is the hidden jewel of Windows apps, in my opinion. And then he says hidden in plain sight, which yes, it's free. It's it crosses all the platforms. It's amazing. That's why we're all, such fans. Okay, so let's get into the rest of the planner, and we're going to try and move through a little more quickly because I really appreciate people sticking around, but I do know that an hour is a long time. So,
absolutely. So there's three things we're going to cover yet. We're going to cover the quarterly review pages, the ideal week, and then your daily planning pages. And I have a 28-minute video on the quarterly review page. So if there's any of this information at 30,000 feet sounds interesting, jump on our YouTube channel, and there is a video that talks about this much more in depth. But what it is I always tell people, if you can find success each quarter in 12 weeks, you get 1 week of vacation. How exciting is that? So why not invest your time in planning how to be successful each and every quarter so you naturally get 1 week of freedom from your career, from your business, from yourself. If you're in some type of exercising program, don't get too involved in too diligent and having all those extra sweets and stuff and get off your program because it might make it harder getting back in. But really what we did here is we looked at a space where you can really outline what it is. What is your success sketch? What do you want to focus again on the quarter? And it's really taking that vision board and now breaking that vision board down into more granular information that you can use. What is your motivation this quarter? What do you want to achieve and what do you want to be successful with? Focus, forward, and routine. I dive into what the importance of this is, but really what the idea behind this is so often no different than we're dealing with customers in figuring out how we make progress with them. Sometimes we fail to forget that in a quarter, there is a natural progression. I hear everybody always tell me so often, oh, do you have a habit tracker? I do not have a habit tracker because I don't believe in habits. Habits are, if you want to be successful at a habit, simply establish a routine. If you want to be successful in your business and accomplish your goals, You want to be able to focus on what you need to achieve in those goals, be able to move forward and make accomplishments in goals, and then establish a routine to maintaining the baseline measures that you need to achieve to be able to be successful each and every day with that. It goes over what are influencers, what connections you want to make, what are some of your absolutes. There's always this goal that we want to achieve, but really there's also the absolutes. When I'm working with customers and they're especially trying to sell products, I say, okay, I get it. You want to make this much profit, but how much profit do you have to make to be able to maintain your business? That is your absolutes. We want to be able to identify that each and every quarter. And then what's next level? What's some of the rewards that you want to get to? This 12-week timeline is really a space where you can linearly put together what some of your objectives are. And you can even see here, I put a link. So if I click on this link, it takes me to a page that goes over what some of my quarterly objectives are, so we can easily identify those in this objective. But here it allows you to be able to look at the quarter and look at how you might frame out your timeline of objectives. So it's a good spot where you can draw and illustrate that. And again, it's only based on 12 weeks because I want everybody to have success in the 12-week period so they get that 1-week reward. Down here is a key space where you can basically freeform some stuff as well as notes. Again, you can jump into our larger in-depth review of that page. The second portion of this quarterly planning page is really a spot where you can indicate progress and reflection. Throughout the planner, you're going to see common themes where I always want people to indicate what their accomplishments are, what is their unfinished business, what is their challenges, and what are some of the key results that they have achieved. The other thing I find always important is sometimes we just need to close the doors on some of the things. There's always been that uncommon rule. Focus on the things you're good at and don't focus on the things that you're not good at. Sometimes we get stuck in the weeds and we try to continue to improve something and we just find that we're not improving it. And because we're spending so much energy on that, we're actually losing that energy and it becomes lost energy. Sometimes you need to close the book on that and move on to something else. It doesn't mean you might not come back to it later, but again, there's certain things in our life that we need to sometimes put behind us so we can focus on the things in front of us. And the progress report is basically a quarter review of that. So that's a quick overlook of that one. The ideal week page is a page that this is probably my most favorite page of the planning system, is because this is the page when people tell me, do you have a habit tracker? I tell them we have an ideal week. And this is the page where you really get a sense of where your life comes together. It is the area where it just starts to make sense and you start to understand what it is that you can truly accomplish and how you might accomplish those things. So this came out of the whole COVID. My staff and I, we started to create social distancing in our organization. And the first thing I struggled with is I'm at home a good chunk now, and I have my kids, I have my wife, I have my workout room, I have food, I have everything here. And I wasn't finding that I was getting good traction on my goals and my success because I didn't have any routine established yet. So I created this page to help me with that. So again, ideally, and this is a page I tell people that you update with the season. You might update on a monthly basis, you might update on a quarterly, or maybe you're one of those individuals that can update it. Maybe if you are in a business that's growing and you maybe went through an acquisition or a merger, your ideal week might change for a period of 6 to 12 months as you move through that acquisition. Maybe you're someone that has, you relocated. Maybe unfortunately you're going through a separation in your marriage. You just need to restructure a little bit. This is a page that you're going to review from time to time to get the most out of it. But again, what it is, it's focusing on where your attention should be in this season. What is your vision for this season? Indicating some of those key development areas, your career, your relationship, your community, and forward in segments. And then what is your time commitments? A lot of times we find that we have this chunk of time that we think we have. Well, when you start to break that chunk of time down, is you have your daily commitments, you have your daily routines, you have your family matters that you have to address. And this spot really allows me to figure out, do I have time to bring more into my life? And you can really break that down and indicate what percentage of time you're going to invest throughout your week. Morning pre-flight, morning routine. For me, the morning pre-flight is the things that you do to get ready for the day, to energize yourself, to make sure that you're ready to take off for the day. The routine is those individual nuggets, basically those habits that become part of your routine each and every day, that just maybe, it's getting up, showering, it's going for a walk, it's feeding the dog, it's having a good breakfast, it's getting the kids off to school. You don't need to write that task down every day because it's part of your routine. And the same thing at night. What's your nightly routine and what is your pre-launch activities for the next day? I always like to wind out my day getting my next day started and recapping. And then this here is the board where you really start to indicate where is my space. And I color coordinate this so I can look at the percentage of time that I have to invest and then what activities I might do on a weekly basis. Working out is important for me at every day at 4 o'clock. I want to dedicate particular time to my family. So this is a really good page. Even if you're someone that uses a different planning system, this is a page that I don't see on any planning system. I haven't really seen it a part of a lot of systems, but to me, it's one of the most valuable pages that I use each and every day. So that is a new page for 2021. It's in our bundle. It's in well. So jumping into the month, the last 2 pages I'm going to talk to you guys about is the weekly planning page as well as the daily page. So weekly planning page just has a lot of similarities to the quarterly page. Again, we talk about our accomplishments. We look at the things that are unfinished. We look at the things that are maybe taking away our attention. Where's your self-improvement? Indicating those things each and every week. For me, I do this on Sunday nights. Some people do this on Fridays, as they're ending out their week and want to get ahead on next week. They really look at this page and start to push through that week by looking at this page. Opportunities. Maybe you got customers. Maybe there's an activity, an event. Maybe there's your Chamber of Commerce is hosting an event. That's an opportunity that you want to be at. There's a customer you want to meet. Someone's going to make the difference. Connections. Who is going to make the difference in your life? And then this is the planning board. This is a space where I take all of those ideas and activities and goals and I start to put them all. Basically, it's like throwing things at the wall. I throw them on here. I write them down here. I put them in my planning board, and then I start to take the things off of this planning board and start to drop them into investment strategy. Is it something that's going to improve myself, build a relationship, build up my career, or help develop my community? What are some of the things that matter most? What are some of the key action steps that I need to do? What are tasks that I have to do or things that I can assign to other? And this is a quick way of looking at your week and being able to plan out some of that week as you want to. Now, if you have a Surface or a Windows device, which is really cool, and even if you're working off a desktop, you can open up more than one window and you can kind of have multiple windows going with OneNote and really cross collaborate. So,
and let me jump in there. In that review you just did on your Surface Duo, you show that really nicely. We don't need to get into it now. I can link to your Surface Duo review because it's got the 2 screens side by side. And, you were showing how you could have like, your email open, and then you could write down, like as you're going through your emails, you can write down the tasks that email generated while you're clearing your email. So yeah, like that's great. You could actually have 2 separate OneNote windows open on like your Surface Duo, or I use a dual monitor setup.
So when we get into our daily page, this is the nuts and bolts. This is the page you look at every day. And people in 2020, when you started looking at the planner, one question I always got from people is, what is this morning pre-flight? What is this morning routine? And there was never the ideal page to tell you what it was. And I kind of was like putting that nugget out there. It's kind of like when Apple introduces a new product and they put a feature in the software or there has a hardware enhancement, but there's nothing to really associate with it. We did that to everybody in 2020 before we introduced the ideal planner. This is a space when you develop out that routine in that ideal week. This is a quick way of saying, hey, you know what? I fed the dog. I got my kids off to school. I did my morning walk. Boom. I can check off my morning routine and I can get into my day. So you start the page by, again, indicating where your attention should be for the week. What is your key action steps? These are the things that are really going to make a difference. And then you have your daily planning page. And what's cool about this is you can go ahead and you can write in it. You can type in it. You can highlight things. And then you can also hyperlink to it. So you can see right here, it says as a meeting here with Tim. If I click on this link, it takes me directly to that meeting that I have with Tim. And if you guys notice, I jump down on this page. So what I often will do is I will build up my week and then I'll go in and I'll drop in, if I have a meeting, I'll drop it under that date so I can easily recall that day. So you can go ahead and you can write out this information and it's in half-hour time blocks. The other thing that we did is and this is one thing that comes up very commonly. Up here you see it says 1, 2, 3. 3 most important things of your day. Down here I have 2 blocks. And why we did 2 blocks is because a lot of times with daily planning, we just write our list of objectives as we move through them. We don't categorize and group. So this gives you an opportunity where you can group. You can see I have an A and I have a B here. Maybe A are some of the things that relate to your career success and career goals. B maybe is some of the things that relate to your self goals and self accomplishments. Maybe they're things you have to either do at work or do at home. You can indicate those things here. You can also then use it to prioritize what are some of your key to-dos for that day if you need to. And then you have the ability to put a checkbox. So down here we indicate a little grid, checkbox for done, a dot for delegate, exclamation point or 2 for urgent, and then always have the ability to forward. And then you can also see on here that we have the evening routine in the evening pre-flight. And then on the right column, we have a spot where you can journal for the day. You can type it, you can write in it, you can put in different notes. You can even add more pages and hyperlink to them. The big thing that we added on the planning page or on the daily pages for 2021 was we had a lot of people that wanted to know about a fitness plan or having the ability to have their meal plan. And so what we did is we added a spot where now you can write in your meals. You can basically put down, I'm a big fan of Lucky Charms, so it's not something I get to eat every day, but when it does, it makes the planner. And then we also have the ability for you to track your water, any exercise routine, calls. So one thing I always love to show people is the power of search engine in OneNote. So if you watch one of my planners, I'm a big fan of grilled cheese. If I type in grilled cheese, you will see here that all of these things come up as a search recall. So if I click on Tuesday the 27th, you can see from right here, when I click on here, you can see it says cheese. When I click on the 27th, you can see it says grilled cheese here, but it also says grilled cheese down here in my handwritten notes. OneNote does a pretty good job of indicating your search notes. And you can see here it says grilled cheese. And guys, I'm from Wisconsin. I'm not going to lie to you. We love cheese. So grilled cheese, and there's a lot of different ways to have grilled cheese. And I'm learning more and more that there's a lot of people that enjoy grilled cheese in different fashions. Looking at my notes real quick here, one thing people always ask me is I always break planners up by year. So you can see my 2019 planner is here, my 2020 planner is here, and today we're working in the bundle planner for this demonstration. So yeah, that is the daily page in a nutshell. And that really is the instrument that kind of carries you through that individual day. So that's kind of the planning system. The idea is you start within and you work your way out, or you start from the top and work your way down. The way it's organized is we break everything down into your sections by year, then by quarter, and then by day. So if we were looking at 2020-2021, you can see that that's here. And we're getting pretty close to 2021. So that is the planning system and how it works. And just it's been something that's development. The last thing I'll close with is when we launch the 2022 planner, which we will start pre-selling that planner on Thanksgiving morning. If you guys want a deal, we will launch the 2022 planner at over 60% off on the morning after Thanksgiving, which would be normally Black Friday. And the big thing that we're going to introduce in 2022, which will premiere in the early part of 2021, is we are going to expand the last segment of my planning system, and that is the 3 and 5 year toolkit. So right now, everything's been about about achieving your goals in that year. We're going to add another section that's going to give you that ability for you, your team, your family, to really look at what progress you want to make over the next 3 to 5 years and really be able to start putting that together in a digital format so that you can start working towards some of those bigger milestones and get through some of those bigger challenges that you want to overcome. But that is the Key to Success planning system.
Wow.
In 1 hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah, no kidding. So I just want to get through a couple of comments, and then we'll get, we can expand a little bit more on the purchase options. James says, I love OneNote. It is the most versatile app by far in education. It's an amazing tool. Yes, James, I'm not an educator, but I love kind of listening in on conversations that are happening in education, because they're doing so many great things with making, education more accessible, and with everybody, a lot of people needing to remote school. It's been really helpful. Dean says, I don't have a Duo, but I have the Surface Pro and it works really great with OneNote. And Dean also says, this is a really nice CRM for OneNote. There is something about the visual coloring and highlighting that really adds to this type of CRM. Yeah, Dean, I was really wowed by that too. I haven't seen it before today, so that's really cool. So the link to Branden's planner page, Key2Success.com, is in this description. And just give us a real quick, if someone were to buy this, how do they actually get a hold of it?
So you go to our website. If you can either look at the different product offerings, it's right on the landing page. You can go into the shop page. It's an instant download. You can pay by credit card, by PayPal. We offer the planner for the year. I think it is normally like $34.99 or $39.99. There's still a sale going on until December 1st, and then it'll go to its regular standard price. Instant download with OneNote. OneNote's really improved this year to allow for you to import it a lot easier method. But once you get to our website, there's an installation guide. There's 3 methods that we prefer you use. If you have updated software, or if you take the time to update your software before you get into installing the planner, a lot of people that have Windows systems are finding great success on the method 1 that we have. And basically, once you download it and unzip the file, you're up and running within 5-10 minutes. Method 2, which allows you to import that notebook into your OneNote account. Yeah, it just depends on your internet speed. It can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes to get set up. One thing you guys will notice if you look at our reviews and if you look at social media, we are really here to serve our customers. Our price point is by far not the cheapest on the market. A lot of people, look at other different planners and they'll say to me that, hey, your planner is a little more expensive, but our customer service is amazing. I will personally work with a lot of you guys and talk to you guys a lot about what you need to do. And we'd even have the ability to help coach you through our planning system. And the thing is, there's not many other planning systems out there that provide you continual updates on the planners that we have to offer.
Right. So there's instructions on how to get it, and you or someone from your team will be, available if someone has any trouble getting it. So I think people are covered in that area. And you had mentioned there's a few different ways to buy it, and then there's going to be a premiere on. When you mentioned the 2022, that's coming out this Thanksgiving, like 2 months from now, or 3? What is it? 3? 2 months from now. Even though it's only. So
what we
okay.
do is. We introduce the pre-launch every year right after Thanksgiving, and we'll do a pre-launch special, and we'll pre-sell the planner usually through first quarter the following year. And at that point, everybody and it's really meant for people that are continual customers of ours that already are utilizing the system. It allows those people to renew their planner at half the cost of what it would be to be first-time adopters. So that's kind of my gift to everybody is if you continue to support us and pre-sale with us, we're going to give you a pretty hefty discount if you keep using our planning system from 1 year to the next. And then usually by June or July, we offer the system available because we know that people are, a lot of people do plan 6 to 9 months out. We have a lot of project managers that are even planning 18 to 24 months out if they're if they're doing contracts or building projects.
All right, cool. So, the link to his store is in the description, and we're going to wrap it up. So if you have any final questions for Branden about the planner, type those in now. And again, all the information you need for Branden, and there's a few links that are in there in the description. And the things we mentioned will be in the description as well, like the videos we mentioned. And if you do have questions about Branden's planner, direct those to him because he'll be able to answer those much better than I will. So I'm going to check the chat once more, and then we will say goodbye.
And while you're looking that over, I'll give you guys one more little hint. We will also be introducing yet this year a content planner. So if you are in the marketing business or do a lot with social media, we are going to basically introduce our content planner, which is going to be something that a lot of people are excited to see. So here's a little teaser of how it looks.
Oh, let's see that. Ooh, this is cool. And again, I like that you have this stacking. Like I'm sure you're going to, expand on that and stuff. Oh, Linda says, great, I'm getting it, meaning your planner. That's awesome, Linda. I think you're going to love it. Dean says, thanks, Michele, for your OneNote Planner Creator Series. You have great guests and you're very informative. And oh, thank you so much, Dean. You've done nice work with this series. And Heidi says, thank you both for your time and sharing with us. Trimedia says, excited for the marketing pages. Just a thought, with a slight refocus, you could become one of the business gurus and give speeches and executive workshops. I think that's directed at you, Branden, because you really have some great ideas, not only on sort of the way to approach things, like the thought process, like how you think about your customers, but then the details, the step-by-step of how you execute that. So,
well, and full disclosure, that is my 3 to 5 year plan. So our goal with this planning system over the last 3 years was to develop out the system, to get people to understand the system, to have a working model. And my goal in the next 3 to 5 years is really become more of a coach for people, and also build a library of coaches. We have a handful of coaches in Australia and New York, in California right now that are starting to use our system as part of their coaching processes. So being able to work with other coaches to really help people maximize their success.
That is so great. I love that. And we'll have to have you back on the, on the show in some form to talk about that, like how you brought that into life. Because that's amazing. And that's just awesome. Steven says, I really enjoyed this presentation. Thank you both. And thank you to everyone who's still here. An hour and 20 minutes. Branden, you are really doing great here. So I think that's about it. So Branden, thank you so much for being here. I really, really loved seeing this. I loved your ideas. I got a lot of inspiration and you did a great job. Hold on. Managed to hit the mute button before that. Now, if you like this and you want to see more videos like this, OneNote tutorials, as well as my videos on goal setting and life management productivity, please do hit the subscribe button and let me know you like this by hitting the thumbs up button. And be sure to check out Branden's channel, which is linked in the description. He does tutorials on OneNote, and he also does a lot of tutorials on the tools he creates, like the planner and stuff, and then some other just really good content. So again, thank you so much to everyone for being here, for sticking around. It was great to have you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.